Call the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meeting for Tuesday, February 18th, 2025 to order. First order of business, pledge of allegiance. Charles?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Item 2, public hearing to obtain comment on an ordinance amending the code of Town of Guilford, Chapter 247, Article 7, Elderly Tax Relief Program. I see a couple of members from the task force. Brian McGlone. Good morning, Brian. How you doing? And also, Lou, you served on that as well. So what we, as I think we've discussed before at this board, we made some revisions to the Elderly Tax Relief Program, which included increasing the income thresholds, allowing folks to make a little bit more money than they have in the past. For instance, if folks with 20 or more years, a married couple, the upper income threshold goes from 95,000 to 99,750. As you may recall, there were the program had not been adjusted since 2008, had not been indexed for inflation, and we continued to run up against appeals related to folks exceeding the threshold after having been in the program for a variety of reasons. Another significant piece of work that changed the way we handle this is for those folks who are on the plan and their income exceeds the allowable limits. The first time that occurs, I think we call it the get out of jail free card. And what's interesting is those appeals came directly to the Board of Selectmen, and then we've basically been granting a get out of jail free card during COVID because of this extreme circumstances. And there had been some application of special considerations, particularly as it relates to extraneous medical bills, which necessitated folks digging deeper into reserves and taking income. Where the board felt uncomfortable was these continued asks or appeals, which were not necessarily medical related and not necessarily, they may have been easily avoided. So the program now calls for first time you get a pass. Second time you get the discount, which is the average of the previous 5 years in terms of the discount on your taxes. And then the third one is 3 strikes, you're out. So that takes the evaluation out of the hands of the Board of Selectmen. It's not subjective anymore based on each application. And then lastly, I think the other major change, which is the one that precipitates us being here today, was some language around the qualifying income, which I think was largely at the behest of our assessor. So those are the primary changes. Those are that we are looking at in terms of adopting the updated ordinance. I'd open it to either Brian or Lou, or I know Pete's here as well for any comments, folks.
I'll just sort of say, I think the focus of the task force was to try and create a little bit of relief due to the passage of time and the threshold at which people could stay in, try and create a little bit more room for people to be part of this. And as you say, Matt, to take out the subjective nature of many of the appeals that we were contending with under the previous language, and that the idea being, as you say, the first time, no excuse, no explanation necessary. If you go over one time, you go over. Second time, there's a penalty for running over 2 times. You should be aware of the trigger point, and if it happens again, maybe it happens for a good reason, but third time out of the program, you'd have to reapply and become eligible as if someone who's never been part of the program. So that was the thinking. Make it both a bit forgiving, but also more objective.
Great. Thanks, Lou.
Can we separate it from some of the other programs too?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. Lou, you want to talk to that?
I could, the assessor was concerned that there are other programs, for instance, a program for veterans that was folded into the calculations. And those are now going to be separated out and just assessed completely differently. I mean, I think what happened is somebody back soon after this previous program was implemented, essentially folded everything together in, for lack of a better word, a spreadsheet to make the calculations. And the idea is that they should just be assessed differently. They're under different, schedules of eligibility. And the idea is someone could possibly be eligible for one program for some small, in most cases, small benefit. And then the calculations for this program would stand on their own.
Great. Thanks, Lou.
Brian,
Brian, any
Brian?
comments or?
Honestly, I don't have anything to add. I think as the point was, we're trying to make some improvements and help people's eligibility to it. And, just fine tune a few points that were in this longstanding program.
Great. Brian, thank you for your work on it. Lou, yours as well. Is there anybody from the public? I'm not sure I see anyone from the public here today with comments. Board members, any comments?
No, good.
We're good.
Glad that it's gonna become a little clearer for the public and clearer for our deliberations. We will have fewer deliberations on
That's
it.
right. Take the thinking out of it
Yeah.
for us. That's right. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing. We have, it's in your board pack. We have one thing to add to the agenda, and that would be permission for use of the town green. Name of the organization is Guilford Foundation. You may have seen, for those who came in, those on Zoom, probably not. Is it a flock of penguins or is it, what is it?
I don't know.
Oh, the librarian.
I know, I'll find out though.
By a local artist who has continued to entertain the community with this wonderful artwork on the green. This came in late Friday, and we did not have an opportunity to add it to the agenda. It's in your board pack. Is there a motion to add that as item 12A?
I'll move that, but did we close the public hearing or anything?
Yes, I just indicated that we'll close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Okay. And let me try your minds. Selectman Federici? Selectwoman Renner?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Okay, that's added to the agenda. All right, item 3. Kevin, what do we have? Yeah, what's one more to add to the agenda?
Approval of third-party consultant for
Oh, yeah.
Village West.
Hold on. I thought we got that in there.
That was a late addition also. Apologies.
Is that the deep?
No, that's separate.
Can you bring that? What is it?
The third-party consultant for review for wetlands for.
Oh,
Village
that's
West.
right, that's right. Let me see. Trace, is that up on board pack?
No, Matt.
Okay. All right, is there a motion to add the request from the environmental planner on hiring a third-party consultant to review the application for 1940 Boston Post Road, AKA across the street from the rock pile? It's a rather significant development. So is there a motion to add that as 12B?
I'll second.
A second. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. All right, Kevin. Thank you for that. All right, public forum? Hearing none, let's move on to approval of minutes. 4.1, the February 3rd regular meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
Any
Second.
comments or questions? Thanks, Sue.
No.
Hearing none, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici?
Aye.
Selectwoman Ruoff?
Aye.
Aye.
Renner, but
Aye.
but I answered for
There
you.
you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Those in the room, aye. There you go. 4.2, February 3rd, 2025, special meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Comments, questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion carries. 4.3, February 4th, 2025, special meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second. Any comments, questions, suggested changes? Hearing none, let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Item 5, Finance Director Mary Jane Malvasi, 5.1, receive monthly report from the Finance Director. MJ, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Okay, many of you heard my report the other night through the Board of Finance, so we're doing this backwards this month. But I'll start with revenues. Revenues are currently at 90.8% compared to 92.2 last year. But you'll remember we did increase some of the budgets for revenue, which causes that variance. Just want to note also that fire department is at 82% of their revenue already. I had a conversation with the fire commission chair the other day, and he indicated that every month the number of calls are increasing. So that makes up the reason for that revenue. Any questions on revenue? Otherwise, everyone seems to be okay.
I have a question on revenue, Mary Jane. That question I should have probably asked 7 years ago, so I apologize for that. But how does the monthly revenue in the building department on this report relate to that report we receive every month of the building permits? I've never understood how they interacted, and now with you know, the additional staffing and so on that we discussed during our budget sessions, I'd like to understand that better. This report shows for the month of January $40,000 in the building department, but the other report shows 52. It shows 197 permits and 55,000. Should there be a correlation?
I'd have to look a little bit more into that before I answer that question. But very often there's a timing issue of when they record their permits coming in and then with the revenue. But let me get back to you on that question and see if I can answer that more intelligently.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was mostly interested in the number of permits because of all of our discussion. And then I thought, well, let me make sure I'm looking at apples and apples. And that's why I started. So thank you.
No problem.
Thanks, Sue. Anything else on revenues? Hearing none, do you want to go to expenses?
Yeah, on the expenditure side, we are just about where we were last year at this time. Most of the departments that are more than the 58% through the year as the end of January are due to timing issues. For instance, in the finance department, for me, you know, we've paid for our audit already, so that it puts us a little bit over that amount. We work our way down to fire. You'll see fire is at 65% with $135,000 in encumbrances, but again, they are 82% through their revenue. That call volume translates over to the expenditure side as well. 2 items we have overdrawn at the moment, so to speak. The first is capital. We do have a number of items in capital that through the budget season last year, we had agreed to pay from fund balance. The expenditures do come out through here, and at the end of the year, we will make those whole. And the last item is debt. We do have our final debt payment in this month of February. Once that is complete, the overage is the premium credits that we take from fund balance to mitigate the increase in debt. So we will be making that whole as well. If anybody has any other specific questions.
Anyone?
No.
Bueller? All right. Anything on warrants, or do you want to go straight to medical? Medical?
All right, on the medical side, we did have some good news in the month of January. We received approximately $400,000 of reimbursements from the stop loss company. If you can remember, I've mentioned the last couple of months that we have this receivable in from the stop loss. That's always a month or so behind. We've brought in $627,000 already in fiscal year 25 for this. We do have some still outstanding, but that was good news for January, which if you look at the claims for January, that $400,000 credit is applied to those claims since the expense is from other months. So January may look like a better month, but if you were to add back that 400,000, we're back up to 1.6 million in January as well. The 400,000 would be better split out between each of the months. Unfortunately, that is adding to our projected deficit in the medical fund at this point, bringing our fund balance down to only 3.1 million. Any questions?
Yeah, let me make sure I understand some of the numbers on this report here. We have the ISL premium and amount covered by that insurance. Okay, so the stop loss to this point is 683,000. In this past month, we received 400,000 of that.
Correct. We've received 627,000 altogether in fiscal year 25, but there is a carryover from last year as well. So
I see. Okay.
there's not a one-to-one correlation in this particular
Right.
fiscal year.
And if and to the extent that folks who have hit that, we would continue to get reimbursed from the insurance. On the other hand, if one of those folks hopefully is better, no more treatment, that ends, that payment only continues to get made per contract that goes over the limit on the stop loss, right?
Correct. So if someone goes over their limit, say in September, then every expense they have for the rest of the fiscal year is covered by stop loss.
I got it. Okay.
And then, so the minute they hit that stop loss for the fiscal year, everything is covered after that.
Right. But okay, I got it. But to the extent that we're receiving other claims from other folks and they're underneath the stop loss triggering amount, we're still paying that. We're still paying that full amount.
Correct. We don't get reimbursed until they hit the $150,000.
Okay.
So if someone stays at 149 for the year, then we get nothing back.
Well, why is it for the month? And cumulatively, we're 1.8. That 1.8 under the fund balance projection, 1.8 million is the cumulative amount of deficit for the year.
Yes.
Okay. And despite the fact that we received this 400,000, that didn't get reduced by some amount, or did it? Was the previous month more than 1.8?
It would all have been tied in. So all the numbers are, it's a net amount of everything.
Okay.
And that's projected. So that takes into account what we think is going to happen the rest of the year. It's not cash value as of the end of January.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that over the next couple of months. I got it. Thank you. I'm on the phone, Jules.
Anything further from Mary Jane? No? All right, MJ, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 6, Police Department, Lieutenant Kirk Fazzulo. 6.1, discuss and take possible action on purchasing evidence room storage system. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Thank you.
So this is part of a two-part project we were looking to do. With the changes in laws with respect to the red flag laws and domestic violence laws, we're taking in a lot more firearms than we had previously. When the building was built, our current capacity for storing firearms is there's 30 long gun slots and there's 27 handgun slots. We currently have about 200 long guns and about 100 handguns in our evidence area. So it's a partitioned small area that also houses ammunition or any high dollar valuables. So jewelry, etc., drugs are all stored in the same area. So we made it work. we're long overdue for this. So the first part of the project was purchasing the wire partition area. So we repurposed the section of the evidence room, wire partition, so it's locked. And then this is the second part. We're looking to do the actual organization aspect, which is the firearm storage lockers. So this is going to give us the capability to store 120 long guns and 160 handguns. Much more organized, and I think a little bit better as far as how we're storing them with respect to respecting people's property, et cetera. We also this is identified as a deficiency for us with accreditation. Our accreditation just took place a few months ago. They did identify this as a deficiency with respect to our policy. They did, give us a little leeway because we are in the process of updating it. But this is the final step. We did obtain 3 quotes. Datum Storage Solutions was actually the most responsive. They worked up a few different options for us. This open storage system is what I think is going to be the best for us moving forward. It also has the capability to give us a little bit of shelving to store ammunition in there as well. So we are looking to get approval to move forward with their suggested quote and move forward with them as a vendor.
Great, thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Second,
Go ahead, Chuck.
I know that there's some renovations coming down the pipe for the building overall. How does this fit into that? Will this be something that, is it going to be part of it, or I don't want to do something now that's going to.
Correct. Yeah. So the evidence room is not actually part of the upgrade. We are actually kind of changed course on that. We're going to do a needs survey. So potentially it could be if there's a change, but with respect to what we had planned to do and identified as our needs, no, the evidence room is going to stay its current
Location
footprint.
where it is makes
Correct,
sense
correct,
long
yeah.
term.
Yeah.
And I forgot the exact numbers that you said that the new area will hold, but I mean, do you think that's going to suffice for 5 or 10 years, or how long?
Right. I think in my experience tends to be when these new laws are put into place, we overcorrect and tend to maybe take in more things and people use it more often because they want to make sure they're not overlooking things. But in my experience and then looking back at the numbers, I think the 120 for the long guns, even though we're at about 200 right now, that 200 figure also takes into account the firearms destruction for the gun buybacks that we've done that have not been destroyed yet. We actually have to make an appointment with the state to bring those up. So that's typically around 100 long guns. But I'd say the 120 long guns and 160 handguns, and then also still having the old area where we can store stuff as well, should suffice for foreseeable future.
That was going to be my next question. I mean, we're not just storing these things forever. There is a turnover, I assume.
Correct. Yes. So as long as the order is taken into place, if the order remains, we're required to house it. Once the order is released, they have a year to come get it. And we'll reach out to them once we realize that the orders are no longer in place. After a year, then we bring it up to the state lab for destruction, the state license. So, so a lot of these orders stay in place for many years. Yeah. And then, we also get somewhere, found property, et cetera, evidence, et cetera. So those will stay in place until the resolution of the case, which could be years as well.
Yeah, notwithstanding the gun buyback stuff, the numbers are somewhat surprising to me. This is an aspect of our community we don't hear very much about, and it just talks to the breadth of the things that the police department does and is responsible for. Many of these are DV cases, right? Domestic violence cases, it's mostly. And to see those kind of numbers is somewhat surprising. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way, but we are not immune from the problems that are going on throughout the world. And just because we don't hear about it too often doesn't mean it isn't taking place. So again, great work by the PD. So anybody, Sue or Lou?
My only question was like, what happens at the end of the process? At what point do people, if ever, get to claim their property back?
Yeah, there's quite a few different scenarios. You know, if it's domestic violence case and their restraining or protective order is released by the judge and the case is dismissed, the person can arrange with us to retrieve the firearms. If they don't have the pistol permit back, they have to have somebody who has a valid pistol permit accompany them to the PD so that they can properly transport that back to their private residence. You know, some of the criminal cases will get orders from the judge to either return the firearm or destroy it, or they can also sell it to a federal firearms license dealer, so an FFL. There's quite a few different scenarios, but typically that's what we see is either a destruction order, an order to return it, or you know, they sell it to an FFL, so that it's no longer in their possession.
So there's due process. People have recourse to the courts, or if in some cases they get ordered to, that's it, they're done, they can't get it back.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, everything we held is under due process.
When you say they sell it, who is that?
The owner is able to work with the federal firearms license dealer to arrange to have it sold. So they arrange it, we get the federal firearms licensee will come in. They sign all the
So it's not
paperwork.
an income stream.
No, it's not. It's not an income stream for us.
We went through that
Yeah.
about a year ago.
Destroying.
Yeah.
Good. Anything further? All right, we have a motion on the table to approve the award of the contract for 2 data storage solutions for the equipment as described earlier by Lieutenant Fazul, in the amount of $8,847.60. Let me try your minds, Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
That motion carries.
Can I just,
Certainly.
so the amount is actually the 12,760.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Okay, well, it wasn't part of the original motion.
Looked like yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
I just want to make sure.
I was looking at the.
Yes, the quote, yeah, the quote. If you had the installation of freight on.
Got it,
that-
got it.
that
All right,
goes-
so, corrected, the motion was without the amount, but,
Okay.
so the amount is 12,763.48. Thank you for that
Thank you,
clarification.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.
Bye-bye.
Good day.
Matt, I gotta take a quick break. Pam, sorry, I will jump right back in.
Nothing you said, Pam. All right, item 7, Park and Rec Director, Pam Geary, 7.1, consider and take possible action to waive section 214-2A of the town code, allowing the serving of ceremonial wine as part of a community center renewal. Although I have 2 items on the board pack, right? On that board pack, right? Okay, well,
7 points.
so that's it, okay. We have two different things there. All right. Pam, floor is yours.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, so this is a Jehovah Witness group that has requested to use our facility, and they have a ceremonial wine. I've told it's very brief. It's at the end of their rental. It is not a happy hour type of thing. And I certainly think it's fine. It'd be an okay thing to do, but I'm going to go through the process here and get approvals.
Great. Thanks, Pam. I think this is a reasonable allowance for religious ceremony. There are several congregations, different congregations that utilize wine as part of their ceremonies. And I would think that anyone who was requesting something like this should be granted the leeway to continue their practices. So I don't have a problem with it. Anyone else? Sue or anybody?
I just have a question. In the letter from the group, they state we will shortly be making application to the Guilford Board of Selectmen for approval of our
Right.
use of ceremonial wine. I don't think that's part of our packet. So if they're planning on doing it, I know this is it's a couple months away.
Right.
Shall we wait and receive?
Yeah, that's a
What they're
good question,
taking
Sue. I don't know that we actually have an application waiver for that.
Mhm.
I seem to remember on a case-by-case basis, after the library was renovated, wanted to do a little function for, larger donors, and it was after hours, but we still wanted to serve some wine, and we came on an individual
Mhm.
case to the selectmen
Selectmen,
and asked.
Okay,
So-
so.
so
this-
the question
so this
is-
it.
Go ahead, Jill.
So this is all we're gonna be receiving, most likely?
Yeah, I think so. I think the applicant here is actually Park and Rec.
Yeah.
If you wanna technically say it's, they're the ones asking for waiver of the policy.
Mhm.
Because I don't recall us having a formal document,
Okay.
which we probably should, consider.
Yeah, I mean, we've handled it on the green,
Yeah,
Right.
but I don't remember the specific document. It was a request.
I think that was embedded in the application for use of the
Yeah.
green,
That's
which
what I
is,
mean. It wasn't a
All
specific
right.
form or something that I know of.
yeah.
I'm not against this. The only
Okay.
thing that
And-
I'm wondering that might come up as part of public thinking about this or whatever is, the business about anybody under 21 not taking part in it.
Right.
Or of it, with it.
The other thing
Whatever
I'd like
is
to know
special
is,
Licensing, the state and all that kind of stuff.
So,
I was going to add, there are licensing requirements. I don't know what they are. And I'd also be interested in knowing what time of day this is gonna be, what else is going on there, and things like that. I mean, we do have an ordinance that prohibits this, so I think we should ask a few questions before we go ahead and
And
waive
it
that.
doesn't sound like they're selling it.
no,
They're not selling it, so. It probably the mechanics of it might be explored a little
Right.
bit more for future, just to, you know. but
Pam, do
I
you
don't
know
know.
when it is? Do you know what time of day or is it the
I
weekend?
believe it's like 1 to 5. I'm not completely certain, but that's what I believe. But apparently it's an incredibly brief formal ending of the ceremony. And from what I understand, I don't think anybody even sips it. It's just part of the formal process.
But we
Right.
don't really know, like,
showing
why
my
not?
ignorance, showing my ignorance on, Jehovah Witness, behaviors in general, which I always thought that they were teetotalers, but, not Jehovah's.
No,
Okay.
not the ones I knew. I'm not
All right,
making fun, I'm just stating a fact.
Right, I would think that, we probably have time, if we're not comfortable with it, if there are some specific questions you'd like Pam to ask of them, who would partake and what assurances do we have that no one underage is going to take part in the consumption of the wine? But
You know, those questions are fine. I'm comfortable with this particular request. I do think Susan brings up a point that maybe we can explore going forward, a procedure for approving things like this in the future, whether it be an application process or just a form, that would answer these questions, age and sale and
Right.
that quantity and that type of thing.
Right, I think that's something, I'm assuming that they've actually had to put an application in for use of the room itself, Pam, is that the case?
Correct.
So that might be the appropriate vehicle to add these kind of questions to, if that is part of it. I don't want to necessarily put it on the application to suggest that it's,
Yeah, like it's something
right.
we approve of generally
Right.
because we don't.
all right,
Well, it'd be a form that we could use
Yeah.
at any venue.
any venue, right?
I mean, some of the museums have events and that type of thing, and they have to go through a process.
All right, so.
Would
Would you like-
Go ahead, Sue.
I was wondering, which room are they using?
The Guilford Whitfield room, the large room.
The large room with the windows
With
looking out into the
windows,
hall?
yep.
Okay. All right,
Mike, are you all set, Sue?
Yes.
Sorry, Matt. Pam, my question was, it says it's the Westbrook congregation. I'm presuming it's a regional congregation and that it's open to folks from Guilford. And it just happens to be a location. It's not like an existing group of folks from Westbrook are just gonna be coming here. It's just I mean, why are we getting involved with an out-of-town group like this, I guess is my question. Or any group that's not from Guilford.
We do have many groups that are not from Guilford that
Okay,
rent our facility. That's all I
Okay.
know.
That's-
I know there are many, like there's like the Bead Society that comes in and uses our facility. They're from Middletown, but there's people from all over. They're
yeah,
not
but that
just
would
from
be that
Middletown.
would be a draw from everywhere as well as Guilford. I guess what
Mhm.
my question is with, and I have no, because I know other religious organizations have used the space. And that's fine, but I mean, it's used the space to service our, folks here as well as possibly, like every potential congregation doesn't draw necessarily from one location, but I'm kind of wondering why they're looking for our space is what it comes down to. Servicing folks in this area as well as from down, up and down the shoreline.
Great question. I think what I'm gonna have to do is take these questions today and put them in would you like me to come back to a Board of Selectmen meeting to answer these questions? Or put it in
One suggestion is to ask the group to just write us a letter explaining some of these things.
okay. That's easy enough.
Possibility.
That's easy.
I don't know what to say about that.
What's the sentiment? Are we waiting for that letter to show up to deliberate and make a decision, or can we make the decision with the information to follow as informational?
I'm comfortable with this particular application, like I said, going forward, maybe if we can procedurally set up a process that would answer some of these questions more clearly, it'd be good, but I have no problem with this.
When is this event happening?
It's April 12th.
April 12th.
So I mean, we do have time. I mean, I don't want to prejudice somebody's planning.
Yeah, but if it's only a month away and they've got their own plans to put together.
Right, because if they're unsure whether they're gonna be able to utilize the facility for the purposes that they are outlined, another 2 weeks may push them into looking for a different facility.
Okay.
Yeah,
We have no
So-
intention of, I don't think anybody here has any intention of denying it. We just feel like we weren't provided with enough information.
That's fair.
So I
So-
prefer, I
So
prefer
can
to
we,
wait and add it.
Maybe just give, what did you say you preferred, Susan? I'm sorry.
I prefer to wait and add it to the next agenda.
Actually 2 months
the
away.
next meeting is March 4th, I think, our next meeting. So that's still 6 weeks, almost 6 weeks out from their event.
right, all right, how about the following? We'll
Authorize
table
Pam.
it, we'll authorize Pam to let them know that the Board of Selectmen has, to a member, suggested this is going to be allowed, so you can count on the date. It's just pending further information from them relative to the event. And it is not of concern, should not be of concern to them that they won't be able to rent the facility. Does that work?
That's accurate.
Yes.
I actually
Right.
thought the gentleman was gonna be on this Zoom today. I actually did. So coming back, I'll request that he's on.
Right.
Because that way, if you think of something else that you want to ask him, he'll be available.
Be there. That's great.
Great idea.
All right, so then is there a motion to table?
So moved.
Yeah, I'll
Second.
second that.
And a second, okay. Further comments or questions? Pam, just make sure that they fully understand that it is the intention of the board to move forward with approval pending the satisfactory
Clarification.
clarifications, that's right.
Of course.
Good, all right, we have a motion to table, all in favor, Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room? Aye, that motion carries, thank you. Pam, in the letter that you had sent over, you had something on the use of the town green approval to host a new Bluegrass Country Festival on Saturday, July 26, 2025. I didn't see that on our online documentation. Is that something you would like us to consider at this point?
Yes,
And add to the agenda?
yes.
Okay.
I'll move we add it to the agenda.
Second.
Second, let me try your minds on adding it to the agenda and for immediate
Aye.
discussion. Aye. Selectman Federici, Selectman Renner, in the room, aye.
Aye.
All right, Pam, you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, based on our survey results, asking the residents of Guilford what type of genre they would like for the concerts on the green. We had 20, almost 2,500 responses about concerts. And a large number of those responses were looking for some sort of bluegrass country. So we thought, why not add it? So Saturday, the 26th is, we have a concert committee for the first time set up. So the concert committee will be part of this event as well. But we chose this date because we already have one country band called the Hazard County set up for Sunday, the 27th. And July 26th would be great because if there's a rain date for that event, we can already go to the Sunday, which we already have a country band lined up. So we're looking to work with the community dining room on this event, as well as even Green Stage. Peter, I'm forgetting his last name. He also
Peter
got involved.
Hawes. Peter
Yes.
Hawes, yeah.
Right, so he's also very interested in working with us on this. And we're also looking to do some sort of chicken wing kind of event with it. We'll get all the restaurants involved to produce their best wing ding, if you will. So we're looking at strings and wings.
Love it.
Sounds great.
What's the date of that again?
It's Saturday, July 26th. Put that in your calendar. That should be fun. So when you say Bluegrass Country Festival, is it more than one band? Is it just?
We're looking at more than one. Yes,
Ah.
probably three. We're looking at three. So maybe something like 4 to 8 or 5 to 8 to start. And if it continues to be really popular, we can grow from there and maybe have a country weekend in the future.
I like it. Many years ago in my youth, I used to attend the Hartford Bluegrass Festival pretty regularly, which was a phenomenally well-attended event.
I think North Guilford has.
And North Guilford does something small as well. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion? We have a motion
So moved.
and a second.
Second.
Any further comments or questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici.
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner.
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Pam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8. Kevin, this is number 1 for you, right?
Yep.
Right, discuss and take possible action on a resolution authorizing the first selectman to sign all documents related to a deep invasive aquatic plant management grant award for Lake Quantified. Kevin?
So back at the beginning of the year, actually, end of last year, we submitted a grant to Connecticut DEP for invasive aquatic plant management for Lake Quantified. This grant we put in for is a 50-50 match. So we just were noticed that we were awarded $22,950 from the state to help with our treatment of invasives in Lake Quantified. The town would then have to fund this equal amount, $22,950 for our half of the grant there. This grant is to cover our the treatment for calendar year 2026, since we have one in place which will be utilized for the 2025 year.
Excellent.
Due to, and actually the states actually moved quicker this year than before. They usually awarded these things like in June, when
We
you
missed the
really
window.
can't really coordinate all the activities. So we have been setting these things up so we're on top of the calendar year for these grants here. So this one will cover the, like I said, the 2026 calendar year for treatment of the lake.
Great.
And be, like I said, half the amount there is what they're covering for us there. It's a
Right.
fairly competitive grant.
Great, yeah. Well, nice job on securing this, Kevin. And I believe as we had our budget discussions recently, we contemplated or hoped to get this, so it is baked in to your budget for 25-26. So if I'm not mistaken. Good job.
So as part of the grant award, requires a resolution from the top official of the town to sign all required documents, and that's what you have in front of you.
You got it. Thank you very much. Moved, second. Any further comments or questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room? Aye, that motion carries. Kevin, thank you. You'll be back up in a minute.
Yep.
Consider take possible action on a resolution authorizing the first selectman to sign documents related to a steep grant application for the Guilford Housing Authority's Boston Terrace project. Just a little bit of background. We haven't received a steep award in some time. We had been, we had tried to submit one. We did submit one last year, I think it was, or 2 years ago for a new roof for, I think it's a Boston Terrace location. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, the steep grant would go towards the housing authorities, Boston Terrace roofing project, and some related activities. So is there a motion to authorize the first selectman to sign the documents?
So moved.
Second.
So moved.
Thank you, Sue. Any comments or questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room? That motion carries. All right, item 10, which is an application for a noise control ordinance variance, and that would be for the Care Fest on June 14th, 2025, which is the annual Paul Dostey Care Foundation event and fundraiser. Is there a motion to accept the application? It's been signed off by Chief Massey and approved by Chief Massey. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
All right, any comments or questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. All right, item 11, discuss and take possible action to approve an ordinance amending chapter 247, article 7, elderly tax relief program as a result of the earlier public hearing. Given the significant amount of input we received, I don't think we're changing our direction at this point. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance amending chapter 247, article 7, elderly tax relief program?
I'd like to put forth that motion.
Thank you. And second? Second. Further comments or questions? Only thing I'll mention again is Brian, Lou, and the balance of that task force for the great work and also the expeditious nature of which you carried out that charge. Just proves that occasionally government can move at a faster pace than glacial movement. So really was.
I think we should give them some other jobs.
Yeah.
Nicely done, Sue.
They like it. I like it. All right, let me try your mind. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner.
Aye.
Those in the room? Aye, that motion carries. Thank you. Item 12, consider and take possible action designating March 2025 as Problem Gambling Awareness Month. This came to my attention through the governor's office originally, who has already signed off on this, as are many other communities throughout the state. Legalized gambling is wonderful for some and not so good for other people. And those who have struggles can benefit by increased awareness and of opportunities to help yourself with those kind of challenges. So is there a motion?
So moved.
Yeah, second. Any further comments or questions? Lou, this wouldn't be you. You didn't bet on the Eagles in the Super Bowl, did you?
I did not. I'd like to watch some of our friends bet, but I would rather watch the game and enjoy it most years.
Just kidding. All right, let me try your mind. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner.
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 12A, which is a permission for use of the town green. The person in charge of the event is submitting it in traditional fashion, which is prefers not to be identified. But the name of the organization is on behalf of the Guilford Foundation, so any proceeds will go to that, and that is the display of penguins flock or what?
Well, if they're on the land, if they're on the water, they're a raft, but if they're on the land, they're a waddle. So we're approving a waddle and penguins today.
There we go. That's a motion.
I make very important contributions to this board.
And a second? Second. All right. Any further comments or questions? Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Aye.
Selectwoman Renner?
Aye.
Those in the room?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Waddle, let's waddle on out there and take a look. All right, item 12B, and environmental planner Kevin McGee, come on up. The Inland Wetlands Commission is asking us to approve the award of a contract to a third-party engineering consulting firm to evaluate the inland wetlands impacts of one of the more substantial housing development projects that will have occurred in Guilford in many, many years. So, Kevin?
Can I steal it back from you for a second? Thank you.
You got it.
And it's actually, mixed in here is actually two consultants, one civil engineering and one is a wetland specialist to do the evaluation. As background for everybody here, the Inland Wetlands Commission is reviewing a application for 1940 Boston Post Road LLC for an updated development of the Guilford Village West development, which was originally approved back in 2010. The new development is going to is proposed to contain 162 residential multifamily dwellings within 4 buildings, a commercial development with 3 proposed buildings, proposed parking, sanitary and stormwater systems, site grading, roadways, installation of utilities, passive and active recreation. The Inland Wetlands Commission at its January 8th, 2025 meeting voted to make the application a significant application with a complex application fee. We declare the application a complex application fee in accordance to the Town of Guilford Code, Chapter 166 fees, Article 3. The Inland Wetlands Commission will need to collect a fee from the applicant for a third-party review and submit documents for potential impacts to the on the adjacent wetlands and vernal pools. So as part of this, we solicited solicitations were sent out to, I believe it's 5 or so civil engineering firms and another 4 or so of just plain wetlands companies. We received 1 proposal back for the engineering services for the civil from Codispoti Associates. They proposed a fee of an estimated fee, should we say, because it's based on hours, of $23,100. The 2, and then we also received 2 proposals for a wetland specialist out of 5 that were sent out there, and the proposal came back from REMA Ecological Services for $5,196.40, and Environmental Land Solutions for $11,500. Wetlands Commission voted at their meeting on February 12th to contract with Codispoti Associates to be the engineering consultant on the project and REMA Ecological Services to be the wetlands consultant. Commission is looking for the Board of Selectmen to approve the proposal for Codispoti Associates for an estimated cost of $23,100 based on hourly rate, in REMA Ecological Services for $5,196.40 plus hourly fees beyond that point of review.
Okay, thank you. For the purpose of discussion, is there a motion to approve the award
So
to the
moved.
2? And a second. Kevin, thank you very much for this. This is obviously a significant project that's been on the books for 20 some odd years. It was originally approved as a age restricted development by, I believe, the Russo, by one of the Russos, if not that. That age restriction was pulled off several years ago. And now what they're looking to do is 166 apartments?
162 dwelling units, yeah, so, yeah,
Well,
hundred
and
fifty-two.
that's on the back part of the parcel, right?
Rear portion, yeah,
And the front portion is, gonna be.
commercial development across from the.
So they will do work specifically on which piece? Is it both, the impact of
It's the
both?
whole thing, yep, the
Okay.
whole thing. This is, last time the proposal was just for the residential.
Right.
This application now is for the whole development, commercial by the road, with the 3 commercial buildings. And then the residential buildings in the rear. Past 5-6 years, this thing's been sort
Strip
of
mine.
mined out, by Cherry Hill Construction there. Erosion controls were monitored by third-party consultant there, or actually not third-party, because actually it was through a required specialist through the contractor there to do the monitoring, which was then quality controlled by myself at times, popping out there, making sure things are actually, the reports we're getting are actually what's happening out there. So there was some monitoring, at least on the wetland side of it, for this existing work, but there's still a lot more work to happen in there in terms of getting the site down to correct grade. Everything's rock now. They're gonna be dumping topsoil and stuff on top of rocks. There's a lot of movable soil that needs to be watched out for as during the project there. And the original proposal noted there's quite a few vernal pools in there adjacent to these projects there. A lot of the work is on a top of a hill, which is that's typical things in Guilford, which then slope down towards wetlands.
This is a not unusual request for municipalities.
Yep.
It's allowed in
Right.
state statutes, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken. And the cost is borne by the developer.
Correct. Yep, they're required to give us the estimated cost plus 10%, just in case there's some overages there. Codis Bodie Associates has done 2 reviews already for the commission. They reviewed the Long Hill Estates East subdivision, which is Big Lights Construction up by Baldwin. They reviewed that for the commission. And they also did the review for the Hubbard Road housing development also there. So they did 2 reviews. They did. The commission was very pleased with their work there.
So this is a move made by many municipalities who don't have in-house staff who can evaluate a project, who have the capacity to evaluate a project of this magnitude with that amount of potential impact to the environmental, the area environmentally. We hear an awful lot, I hear an awful lot of stuff about regulations adding to the cost of development and driving the costs up. Clearly, this is what, $30,000, which is probably going to be a drop in the bucket related to this particular project. But what it does is it buys the community the ability to ensure that significant disruptions to the wetlands and other aspects of environmental concern are taken care of. What I want to understand, and this is kind of interesting, theoretically, a developer is paying for something that could be detrimental to their project.
They can get some negative results.
And there have been accusations, I'm not saying necessarily that this is sometimes a tool to dissuade developers from moving forward. I think we heard something about that in the Hubbard Road application and so forth. But the intention here is to preserve the integrity of the environment to the degree that you can, knowing that there will be some disruptions based on the nature of just doing that kind of work. There already have been, right?
Correct. There's already been
Trees
work
have
going out there,
cleared,
correct?
et
Yep.
cetera. So, but this is specific to the inland wetlands.
Actually, the work conducted by the consultants here, especially the civil engineer, would be carried out through the planning and zoning process. Okay, because they're reviewing the major impacts on a development like this. Really comes down to kind of 2 major things: soil erosion control measures and stormwater, which protect the wetlands and also adjacent properties. Even if there's not wetlands, if you have erosion control methods in property or properly review stormwater, somebody's property can get additional stormwater, which they were never getting before, which then once it gets developed, our offices get calls from the neighbors saying, I'm getting extra water on my property, never had this stuff. So it's a third party looking at this saying, protecting the neighbors and actually making sure they're in compliance with our zoning regulations. Actually, now it's the state's manual for erosion and sediment control measures and the new stormwater manual they have there. So they're evaluating all this to those standards there. So through the review process is actually here. Sometimes you hear the negatives, oh my God, it's costing me money, I'm doing this. But if you really get down to it, a lot of the engineers there, third-party reviews, especially this big project, help bring up problems which your engineers may miss. These plans, they're in front of them so time that they're not catching a problem which they may have put in there. So it's a second set of eyes on it. There's about 70 pages of plans in the plan set which are put together, which even the consultant's engineer, I mean, there's something that you think you corrected, but you didn't because your mind reads something that's correct and you're thinking it's correct, whereas the second fresh set of eyes.
You're too close to it. You're too close to it. Yeah.
Correct, and it's and they find stuff which improve the project there.
Got it. All right, I've monopolized questions. Anybody else?
Could you, this is not necessarily right under your
Yeah.
direct purview, but this is something that's gonna become more and citizens are gonna become more and more aware of this project. You just repeat again, it's 146 in
162 residential multifamily dwelling units.
in how many
In
buildings?
4 buildings they're looking at right now.
Okay, and do you know how many bedrooms?
I do not have that information as part
It's
of
a
my.
mix of 1 and 2. I think it's,
2, 1, and some studios.
2, 1.
Last I heard.
And are they, and John, you might know this, are they allowing any to are they designating any to be affordable?
I can't say 100%. I'm not sure that they are going affordable, although the studios will be lower priced. Obviously.
Yeah, but then we have that,
we have the 12%.
we have that 12% fee in lieu of affordable, so, and this is a large enough project that it would qualify for that, for sure, so.
They put in application planning zoning, so maybe in their paperwork, I believe that would be part of their
Right,
application for this type of thing.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm not familiar with that.
160 and 4 big builds.
so 40 units in each roughly, right? So am I figuring out that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many stories?
There's a garage level underneath, and I think probably 3 or 4 there. It'd be like probably similar to, my guess, similar to High Street there. And my guess is I would one of the plan set there for the architecturals there.
Quick math says that they will be required, if it's 162 units, they'll be required to have 12%, with a 12% set aside. That's 19.44, so I guess you can round down, but 19 or 20 affordable housing units. If they elect not to do so, they will contribute a fee in lieu of,
To the Affordable Housing Trust.
which will
Yeah.
potentially start to
Yeah.
build the Affordable Housing Trust Fund if they opt not to do so. Anyway. Any other questions? No, all right, motion on the table. Let me try anything else, Kevin? You want-
No, that's it.
That's it, all right. Let me try your minds. Selectman Federici,
Thanks, Kevin. Aye.
Selectwoman Renner,
Aye.
those in the room?
Aye.
Aye, that motion carries. Kevin, thank you very much.
Thank you for sorry about last minute there.
No problem, no problem. Is that application being received this week?
No, for P and Z maybe, but we received this back in February, I believe, the commission received this one, yeah.
Okay. And it's now inland wetlands, right?
Inland Wetlands will be starting our public hearing on March 12th.
What's the time frame on getting this third-party review done and completed?
As soon as we can get them on board there, it's gonna take them, they figure 4 weeks for the review.
Okay.
We're hoping they can get most of it done before the first public hearing there.
That'd be great. All right, thank you. Committee reports. Board of Health.
Nothing,
No.
yeah, we're just chugging along.
Andy, can I actually ask you about that?
Sure.
What's what's the first properties likely to come online that are in the pipeline?
Well, the Woodruff property, you know, it's been
There's
taking.
been some movement.
Yeah, there's been some movement. They've finally submitting, some of the, requirements and, information regarding the issues that Deep brings up about the floodplain, et cetera. We're having a meeting today and we're gonna finally get some plans, and some pictures of these, site requirements, that have been taking a while to do because of changes, and then getting the various engineers out there, the soil sampling person and some other people that need to do certain technical work before the neighbor works could submit it
Okay.
forward to Deep.
So it's so no shovels in the ground, but all the necessary engineering,
Yeah,
legal.
it's finally, I hate to, you know, be too positive. I'd like to be positive, but I would say that things are going to the next level at least finally, and
Fantastic.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
They
Thank
were, they were caught off guard to some degree, because of the being unaware of the difference, between the 100-year floodplain and the 500-year floodplain. The
Right.
original design contemplated 500-year, when in fact it's 100-year. And the developer was loath to go back to DEP until they were 100% sure that their professional team understood the ramifications, implications. So they didn't want to have to apply 3 times at DEP.
Right.
So that's been taken care of. There's also a little bit of movement on the Sawmill Road property. We are moving forward with some environmental testing. We have secured the appropriate documents on surveys and title work in order to have that information ready to go when we go out to RFP for a preferred developer for that property. And remember, we still have a commitment of $1 million in state bond funding, which was in exchange for the CDBG housing money that we won a year and a half ago. So it's still out there. That would be the next project that's coming up. Then I believe.
How many units there, Matt?
That's probably only going to be six or eight units, similar to the Great Hill Cottage development. It's planned. We anticipate that it'll be home ownership. One of the things that we're going to try to do now that it is as of right, and if you build this septic capacity appropriately, these cottage units may also allow for ADUs on the same properties. So it'll probably require subdivision of the lots, but that $1 million in pre-development money work will more than likely cover most of the expenses for us to get ready to go to RFP. And then I believe the Affordable Housing Commission is working with Kevin McGee and others to try to identify parcels in town for us to try to promote affordable housing developments. And I know they've reached out to several of the affordable housing or even regular housing developers who do somewhat affordable housing and are not afraid to incorporate affordable housing in their developments around the state. So I know that you guys have talked.
We've had at least 2 meetings with developers around the state, and I think it'll be more meaningful if we can actually say, here is some parcels that could potentially be in the mix,
Right.
you know, so.
All right.
Enough. Okay, good. Awesome.
You got it. All right, correspondence. Public Works report, building report, so we'll get Mary Jane will try to square the revenue against that report at some point. Old business?
Should we just take this opportunity to once again reiterate the date of the upcoming town meeting?
I think that's a good thing to do. It is now slated for Wednesday, the 26th of September. It is at 7 o'clock at the Guilford High School, as opposed to the confusion in the last notice. There were several sets of eyes on the notice that was submitted last week for publication in a newspaper of local circulation. So we're
At the town meeting, which is resulting in a vote that night.
right where residents will be able to share their comments, their insights, and ask questions about this project. And eventually, we'll take a vote at that meeting as well.
In-person.
In-person voting.
Bring,
right.
bring an ID.
Yeah, bring your ID to get checked in by the registrars of voters, so. Good, thank you for that, Sandy. Any other old business? New business?
I'm
John,
not
is there
sure, I'm not sure if
anything,
it's old or new, but
Yep,
we need to respond either separately or together to the POCD questionnaire.
yes,
And Sandy had, I thought, a great idea of sort of getting together and working on a collective response.
that'd be
Wondering if
great. So-
anybody's
so,
interested in doing that.
yeah, we can do it via Zoom or in person or a hybrid. So we'll have staff take a look and send something out to try to coordinate schedules. Thanks for that catch, Sue. Anything else? Hearing none. Public forum. Is anyone wishing to address the board in public forum? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
This one's non-debatable. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you all.